Megan and Konrad are full of the joys of summer this week because the people of Thuringia went to the polls, and slightly fewer of them voted for SS apologists than normal. Meanwhile, top COVID explainer Karl Lauterbach is overhauling Germany's absurdly expensive healthcare system, and kindly white-haired President Walter says a rude word. Ahoy!
In Berlin's heart, where news is unveiled, Megan and Konrad with German tales. The German news, it's tough to bear, but with Megacans, they're ready to head there. Konrad, daily news at hand. Megan feels to spare time to crack those cans. With each sip she takes, the Meg is her shield, but will it last the news? 'Cause that was the deal.
Hello everyone, it's Megan's Megacan. We're here. Hello. I'm Megan. And I'm here in Berlin with Konrad Werner. Hello Konrad.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. Should I make you a coffee?
Oh, fucking hell. I am done in.
A club
Be kind to your teachers. People, it's marking season. It's awful for the kids. They're doing the exams, but at least once it's done, they don't have to look back over the absolute dross that they may have written. God love them. Oh, God. We really need to stop doing exams and grading students. This is insane. This is all pointless.
What would be a better way of assessing? Maybe we don't need to assess them at all.
Do we need to assess anyone? Can we not just... They get to do portfolios of work and they have interviews at universities?
There is a school in Dresden that is doing that, you know. There's this experimental school that's had a bit of media attention, a lot of interest in it. And they mix up the age groups and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'd imagine they still have to do Abitur, because if the Abitur stops happening, then the fabric of German society will apparently crumble into the Nordsee. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
And for that reason, because this podcast is usually, I'm excited because I'm going to get a Megacan, but no, we're not drinking.
Okay.
I have to keep marking after this, which is fine.
You didn't even want a Red Bull and vodka?
No, because then I won't sleep.
Okay.
Then there's no sleep. You need the sleep so your brain will function. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm fine.
Good.
So I have, and you said you wanted to think, so I have a Rhabarberschorle, one of the best things about Germany.
Oh, yeah.
I did notice, make sure you give it a shake. Hang on, have you got a bottle opener here?
Okay.
Open them for you, yes. They do have sort of bits in them.
Yeah,
Let's not
that's,
think about that too much.
No, that's supposed to be a sign that they're bio, because they're, organic, because they've got bits of the actual vegetable.
I don't think a sieve is non-organic. Like, you don't have to sieve it through a...
No, but it's to
know.
make you feel like it is more organic.
So these are like marketing bits.
It's like when they do, don't you like...
I think we've had this before, actually. I'm sure it's going to be delicious.
Like Fruchtfleisch. What are your feelings about Fruchtfleisch?
Like bits or pulp, as they call it in the US. I'm into it.
Okay.
But I just find it weird. That's one thing in freshly squeezed juice.
Oh,
I mean, that's obviously delicious.
Yeah, very
Obviously.
refreshing.
Would it be better with a shot of vodka in it? Possibly. But that's not the week we're having, everybody.
There'll be time for that.
Okay.
There's a time for Megacans and a time for Biotisch, as it
There's
says
a time.
in the Bible.
Yeah.
Was it the Bible?
Yeah. I think is it one of the Psalms, that one? It's insane. It was one of the readings on my dad's funeral, and we'd all before this doing kind of jokes of it. There was a time for this, a time for that. My brother's girlfriend didn't really know the reading itself, and then realised that is literally what the thing is for just ages, and she just was uncontrollably laughing like the whole way through. She said it was awful. It's a really weirdly written text, the Bible.
Yeah.
Sorry, that
We'll discussion for another time, maybe.
a different podcast.
Yeah.
All right, what's been happening in Deutschland? I haven't paid attention to a single goddamn thing.
So we've got a bit to catch up on, because there's been 2 weeks have gone by.
There's been some news items which we're not actually going to cover today.
Yeah.
Because they're more like newsy stuff rather than politicsy stuff, perhaps, in that quite a lot of people are flooded.
Yeah, there's floods in
bad.
Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg, a few casualties. It's obviously Olaf Scholz went down to look, and the governor of Bavaria, Markus Söder, went down to look today and nod and not mention climate change.
He didn't.
No one mentions climate change when this thing happens.
We're coming up to elections.
It's not the moment.
Let's not go wild.
Yeah. There's a European election coming up on the end of the week, on Sunday.
Yeah, I really need to remember to post my vote.
Well, yeah, but you can vote here. Why don't you vote here?
I'm going to be in Scotland at a wedding.
Right. Oh, no wonder you got to do marking.
Yeah.
Marking.
Yes. And a police officer was killed in Mannheim.
Police officer was killed in Mannheim.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it because we don't know enough about it. But I do think it's important to mention these things because they're sad news items.
Yeah, and another thing that has happened that's probably no one's really interested in, but I am interested in because I am the
we'll get to the real news, everyone. None of those headlines that you may have seen, even in the English media. No. What are we going to talk about today, Konrad?
We're going to talk about Karl Lauterbach's health reform.
Yes! Give us the good stuff. What's been Karl Lauterbach been up to? We haven't heard from him for ages.
Bear with me, everyone. Stop. I know people are probably, their fingers are hovering over the stop button now. But just bear with me. It gets good. It's actually really important because Karl Lauterbach, health minister, he was very popular during COVID, you might remember.
I do, yeah. He's an SPD politician and also an actual doctor.
And he's kind of a very sensible person. He has been preparing what he says is a Zeitenwende, a turning of the times in Germany's healthcare system.
Is it going to be the same as Olaf Scholz's Zeitenwende? Mind you, he has done a Zeitenwende, but really sneakily, that's the other thing. He's like, yeah, Ukraine can like attack Russia with German weapons.
That's another thing we could have mentioned in the news. But anyway,
another massive news item we're not talking about. Sorry. More importantly, hospitals.
So it's quite a big thing because you remember we actually did talk about it a while ago. Do you remember over Christmas there was a doctor's strike?
The time where we had to drink 2 megas because I messed up the recording on my end. So let me try and see what I remember. There was a doctor's strike and they were basically like, this is untenable, this is bad. Wasn't there? Yeah. What else has been going on? I can't remember why it was bad particularly.
So for many years, German doctors have been complaining about the cap on the budget, so that the way that they're paid is that the health insurers only give them a certain amount of money to treat older people. And they've been saying for a long time that this has effectively makes them work for free because they get more patients than they're being paid for eventually. And Karl Lauterbach has...
So either they have to turn people away or...
they don't turn people away if they can.
No.
But they don't, so they said... No, so GPs, this is specifically GPs, and they've been on strike for a while, and it's been considered that this was a measure that was brought in the 90s, and they said it's really old, and now they've got rid of that cap on payments, but not for specialist doctors.
Okay.
So how it works in the German system, usually what happens is you go to your GP first, and they refer you to a specialist. Mm-hmm. So the doctors are saying, yeah, it's really good that he has got rid of this cap, but it is bad that he's not done it for the specialists. And he says that it's like another halfway house measure that the SPD could have done better. And similarly, there's a hospital reform. So Germany is an odd situation because it has the highest number of hospital beds in the EU per capita. So there's enough hospitals, but maintaining these hospitals is very expensive.
Yeah.
And what eventually happens is, and I know because I know people who've been to hospital recently, is that they keep them in. If you can be kept in, they will keep you in hospitals.
It's like the opposite problem. So then that your Krankenkasse will pay for that stay rather than them having to just fund empty beds.
Yes.
Like a hotel.
Yeah. So
interesting. Yeah, it's I remember my sister, who works in hospital medicine in the NHS, being like, oh, Germany's hospitals aren't full. We always run at 110%. And we were like, 110% doesn't exist. Like, that's not. But that's interesting. So, wasn't there a scandal I remember, or not a scandal, but like a thing I remember hearing of like people also being maybe referred for surgeries that didn't
Yeah, exactly. That is that. So hospitals are, even though that they're usually quite empty, actually, German hospitals, there's actually quite a lot of space in them. They're also going bankrupt a lot of the time because they can't get enough money from the health insurance. So that's why they have this massive financial incentive to treat as many people as they can and keep them in hospital longer than they need to. And also, and this has been a particular problem in Germany, is treating people when they're not necessarily qualified to treat people, like offering treatments, saying, like a lot of cancer patients, they say, okay, sometimes someone comes in with a cancer and they go, yes, we can treat that, and they can't really. They don't get. They're just general hospitals, and they sort of treat. You know, a lot of patients have to make do with average treatment if they got referred to a specialist earlier, they would be treated better. So anyway.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
What's Karl going to do about it?
Karl has got this. It's a two-pronged.
How's he going to change these times?
He's going to change the Wende. So he's going to do this two-pronged hospital.
This site, Karl. Yeah. Let's go.
So instead of what they call it, they call these Pauschalzahlungen. So you get like a Fallpauschale instead of the Fallpauschale, which is a case payment.
Yeah.
Per treatment.
Okay.
Which is the way it's run now.
Yeah,
every time you treat someone, you send a bill to the health insurer. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing that, you get the health insurer, 60% of their funding will come as a flat rate for everything they offer.
Ah.
And coupled with that, there will be new minimum standards of what you have to be able to offer. If you say, for example, that you can treat a certain condition, cancer or something, you have to have meet certain minimum standards, which are now going to be higher.
Okay.
So, and this is supposed to then encourage more hospitals to say, okay, we can't offer that, but we can refer to a specialist, and so more specialists can. So the idea is that, and this is why. I mean, the problem is that like not only it is extremely expensive, German healthcare. You might have noticed from your payslip that you spend quite a lot of your pay goes.
I'm happy to do. I'm glad there's fucking beds if I need it, to be honest. And like this sounds coming from a system where that's not the case.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is a pretty good health service all in all, but it's extremely expensive, and it's costing. And the reason why it's so expensive is because the hospitals are charging health insurers as much as they can, and the health insurers are obviously passing on all those costs. It's like a spiral of money going up.
So do you think if they're now going to get more, I mean, we're not going to see any reduction in what we pay, are we?
No.
Which is fine. I
don't know. I mean, the idea is that maybe the whole system won't use up that much money, and they're going to switch to more outpatient care, so providing more money, and also a different kind of emergency care. So the reaction from doctors, again, from the people that I interviewed last week, was saying, yes, this is a necessary reform and is a good reform, but it needs to come with an overhaul of the whole outpatient system as well, and of the emergency care system as well, and that is not part of the reform plan so far.
Okay.
So it's basically they've been working on this for 2 years, and this is as far as they've got, but they've still got 2 more years to go.
It seems like
there's
so much to.
So
So do you know if the hospitals are receiving like any flat funding now, or is this 60% kind of a new thing, or we don't know?
No, the 60% is the reform.
I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah, so 60% of their funding will be a flat rate for whatever services they provide, and then 40% will be per case.
Okay.
And that is new, and a lot of people have been saying, because the way things have been...
That to me sounds really good, and then the second bit is like, nah.
The second bit is, well, now we'll have to see how well it works and in practice, and also But that's the kind of issue that has been going. There's been talk about like some small hospitals may have to close down, and there is a problem in rural areas because there are a lot of doctors in cities, but not so many in rural areas. And Karl Lauterbach's part of his reform is to offer more funding if you move to the countryside to open a practice. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all part of the issue with demographics as well, because we have an aging population and more doctors are retiring early because they can't be bothered to deal with all the paperwork.
Well, if they have to work for free, that's...
So he's trying. What I'm saying is he's sort of trying, but the doctors and the health professionals and the health insurers are all giving him sort of a C+.
Yeah.
But it is very complicated. And one of the reasons why it is very complicated is
better
because...
than the resounding, Jesus fucking Christ, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Which is usually the grades that we hand out.
Do you have enough space on the forms to write that?
No, I mean like us on the podcast to like politicians with policy ideas. Where it's like, no,
okay.
Try again. But no, do I sometimes have to write the sort of pedagogically phrased equivalent of that? Yes. Sometimes. I did actually find that very interesting.
There you go. I knew. Told you.
Yeah.
See?
But I am also kind of a nerd about this stuff. So,
yeah.
What else are we going to talk about for me and the listeners who are still
with us?
Oh,
you're also going to get, you might have got there's another little thing. This is a smaller thing. You might have got an email or a letter from your health insurance company in the last few weeks saying that from 2025 you will have an electronic file with all your medical data on it, which will be personal to you and which you will have access to. The health insurance company will keep it for you and you will have access to it online.
Good Lord.
And it will keep all of your info on it, including your vaccination info. So there's that whole thing with the...
So we don't have to find our little yellow books.
The little yellow book. That is actually... Because I got my letter... Because I got my letter today, and it did in fact say, no more looking for your little yellow book. That's what the letter said.
In the case of the next plague.
In the case of the next plague. So
the little yellow book for people not in Germany is the
Inf pass.
Your vaccination passport that we all didn't understand, or if you were German, whenever we started being able to go to bars, but we needed, I remember seeing loads of lads just like with it tucked in their top pocket.
Yeah.
The new clubbing accessory.
With a little sticker.
That's nice. Yeah, I mean, I have been getting electronic prescriptions of late on my health insurance card. It's like fucking witchcraft. Yeah. I got a text the other day to tell me that it had arrived, and I was able to log in, look at it online, go to the pharmacy. What is...
Yeah, well, you've got Karl Lauterbach to thank for this.
Thanks, Karl. I enjoy it.
Mentioning prescriptions, they're going to do it so that you can get prescriptions online and by telephone. So they're changing the thing. So now doctors will be allowed to give out prescriptions on the phone as part of these new reforms. And also, if you're chronically ill and you need multiple prescriptions, you can get them for an entire year and not for every 3 months, which is the current rule.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's a few different bits and bobs that are also in the works. There's changes in Germany.
It all sounds good. I'm not sure if I was a doctor. I don't know, but it does sound that they are also saying it. I'm not sure I'd be like, woo, the Zeitenwende has arrived. I do not even recognize my workplace anymore. I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think maybe SPD stop throwing around the term Zeitenwende.
Well, the other thing is we should, to be fair, it's not just because of them. The problem is the states are getting involved because health policy...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because we have the federal system in Germany and the states have quite a lot of power, and the state governments are already saying, hang on a minute, especially with the minimum standards thing, they're like saying, well, that is against the constitution because that is state... that's a state remit thing. So we may yet have legal challenges to some parts of the health reform.
Oh, okay.
So watch this space. Keep listening to Megan's Megacan to find out more.
I am actually genuinely excited.
Okay.
Okay. What else?
Local elections in Thuringia.
If it's Thuringia, you must be about to talk about the AfD. We're back to our normal programming, everybody.
Yeah.
Come back to us.
So
Stop watching the TV or whatever you'd started doing.
Thuringia had local council elections last week. They're
And
not
so-
the state government elections. They're coming in September.
What? Did we not just do that? I swear to God, there's always a vote in the worrying states. Like anyway.
Well, yeah, Thuringia and Saxony and Brandenburg are all voting in September for their state government.
When did they last do that?
5 years ago.
What?
I think we had another one. Berlin.
Did I get so scared? No, I would remember that one. Maybe I got so worried about those 3 states that I already thought it happened with the stress. Anyway, oh God, it's a big year for elections. I don't think I can do. Anyway, so people were like, oh my God, this is a test. A Stichprobe. Did anyone use the word Stichprobe?
They were bandying that word around like nobody's
is like
business.
a randomized test, like a litmus test, I think we would say, wouldn't we?
A bellwether.
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's like a weathercock.
Help. There's no booze in this drink. Jesus Christ. I can't do this.
They're an instrument that helps you to determine which way the wind is blowing.
I know what a weather vane is, you mentalist, but I don't.
A weathercock. Is it not like a big flat cock on a church, on the top of a church? Anyway, the point is they had little elections last week
that we thought were going to be like, oh, how well are the AfD going to go because East Germany is a real stronghold for them, blah, blah, blah.
Good.
And following the huge scandals that the AfD have been involved in, we were wondering how that was going to go.
Yes.
Insert your metaphor of choice here.
Exactly. Oh, good. So, and Thuringia is obviously one of the states where the AfD is stronger than anywhere else, and is also more right-wing than anywhere else.
Got that absolute fucker hooker.
Yeah, Björn Höcke.
Who I detest
Yeah.
for many reasons, because he's a fascist, but also because he is a former history teacher. And that makes me angry on so many levels that a German history teacher is now a fascist. Like, that is a fucking failed system, everyone. That's the failure of your Erinnerungspolitik.
Did you know about his court case?
Oh, the one where they legally said you can call him a fascist?
No, that was ages ago.
Yeah.
This is a new one.
A new one? What do we get to call him now?
No, he was in court for using a slogan.
Wait, I do know this. And the slogan is something that, like, was it like...
Yeah, the SA used the old paramilitary force of the Nazis.
Yeah.
He used this phrase in a speech, and
then was like, oh, I couldn't possibly.
it was he used this phrase in his speech called, it was like basically alles für Deutschland, everything for Germany, and that is recognized in Germany as a slogan of the SA, and using slogans of any Nazi party organ is illegal in Germany.
Yeah.
And he was fined €13,000.
Good. Can we put him in prison?
Well, not at first.
Not yet.
But anyway, yeah. So
What an
he's
absolute, like, how disgusting. Like, can we just take a step back? We are having all of this, like, liberal hand-wringing about, like, protecting democracy. The level we're at, lads, is that prominent political leaders in Germany are being found guilty of using literal Nazi slogans.
Not even neo-Nazi ones, like actual from the old days.
OG.
Yeah.
He is a fucking Nazi. Anyway.
So
How did the AfD get on? Thuringia.
There were fears that it would be, because these are local council elections, and in every single local council they have different candidates. It's a very different sort of situation. A lot of local politics plays a much bigger role, I think, than in state elections or national elections. So, But there were big fears that it was going to be because the AfD have been doing quite well in Thuringia, and nationally that there would be this huge, they would take over loads of local councils, and in fact they didn't. It wasn't as they got less than their normal percentage. So they're polling at 30% in Thuringia.
What?
And they got about 26% of the vote.
Oh.
Oh yeah, they're
I'm excited, but I hadn't got the percentage. I kind of am not aware, but I was shocked in the moment by those percentages. Jeez.
They got 26% of the vote in these local elections.
Okay.
And this is
the good news.
This is the good news. It was slightly less than...
Oh God, we cannot not drink on this podcast. I'm so sorry. I feel so much more out of control. This is awful.
Yeah.
The good news is it's only 26% Nazi. 1 in 4. It's...
Yeah.
Woo! All right.
So
keep the good news coming, Konrad.
What else was I going to tell you about? Oh, well, so yeah, though it was so quite interesting local stories there was that in one of the councils, a rival AfD guy, because he's decided he hated Björn Höcke. And Björn Höcke tried to get rid of him.
I wonder if he hates them for the same reasons I do.
Probably not.
Probably not.
So what happened was the official candidate started rebelling against Björn Höcke, and Björn Höcke tried to get rid of him, but you can't get rid of him because he was already on the list. He was already you have to hand in a list, and then
yes.
And there ended up being 2 AfD candidates to vote for in that one council, and the one that was against Björn Höcke, he won. That was just a little bit... he had a funny name.
More good news for us all, guys. The slightly less Nazi-ish person.
And he was called Karl-Heinz Frosch.
Of course he was.
The successful candidate there. And then he subsequently left the AfD. So he won the election and then resigned from the party. So now he's an independent in that...
okay. All right. Karl-Heinz Frosch?
Yes, Karl-Heinz Frosch. Okay. That was just a footnote there. What else? Because we got the European election coming up.
Yes.
Where Maximilian Krah, have we talked about the Maximilian Krah yet? The various...
I feel like we have. So this is...
So he's the leading candidate for the AfD.
Yeah. And one of his aides has been spying for China.
Yes.
Spying for China.
So not only... And then he did an interview with an Italian newspaper in which he said that not all SS people were criminals. He said, we have to differentiate between...
Wow, we're not even pretending anymore, eh?
No. Whereupon...
I'm sorry, you have to differentiate between who and what?
Well, he just said that not then. He said there were these SS people and other SS people, and they weren't all criminals. That's what he sort of said. I'm paraphrasing. Whereupon they have these factions in the European Parliament, and then they kick the AfD out. So they
yes, I have heard this.
Yeah,
and the Le Pen.
And Le Pen in France, Marine Le Pen, she distanced herself from the AfD and said, these are Nazis. We can't have anything to do with them.
Which is, of course, a huge fucking boon for... Like, you always need someone who you can literally point at and be like, there's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Because... if you're on the extreme right, you want to dance around and do the whole like, oh, but we're just like saying it how it is, and we're not racist, but immigration's gone too far, blah, blah, dog whistle. And like the AfD, I mean, maybe they're going to consume, like it's not going to go well for them, but I don't know. It's kind of weird in Europe because now this right-wing fascist group, like they can kind of be like, oh, we're not the AfD, and then people, I don't know, I think it emboldens them, no? It shores up their support. Yeah,
well, I think Le Pen has been trying to kind of make her her party more moderate all the time, hasn't she? She kicked out her own father out of the party, the original Le Pen, and all that stuff. Anyway, and then Maximilian Krah.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
He was the party. His party leaders banned him from doing any more campaigning on this as well. So he's not supposed to appear in public
Can
to
you
campaign
imagine,
for
though,
his...
like, you're trying to run this thing and you're fucking... I'm sorry, someone said what to the Italian newspaper? Who? Who the fuck said the SS? That's something we say quietly at the parties. When the second bag of Coke is doing the rounds. Who said what about the SS? The guy whose fucking aide was spying for China? That fucker? What? This is like the thick of it times a million. What the actual fuck, lads? Oh, good God.
Yeah, but the only problem with that is that they still have to elect him because of this law saying
He's
that
on the list.
he's on the list. You've got to... Whoever's on the list is now your candidate. So whatever happens, he will get into the European Parliament because people will still, enough people will vote. And, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the Maximilian Krah saga.
Brilliant.
And also Peter Bistrom.
Who the fuck is that?
He's the second on the list, or
Okay.
he's also on the list of the AfD. And
What's he done?
He's the one who's had ties with pro-Russian groups in Czech Republic. He's part Czech, and he had like some ties with. He had. I think it was Peter Bustrom, or one of them had ties with a guy who is now in a prison in Poland for spying on Russia.
Spying for Russia.
Spying for Russia, yeah. A Polish national who they knew him and they showed him around the Bundestag apparently, and now the Polish authorities have arrested him for spying for Russia. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. I think I've covered it all now. All the AfD stuff.
All the AfD stuff. Well, we've still got fucking Sarah Wagenknecht on my list. Do we have time?
Well, I
Do we
mean,
have
there's
the energy?
she hasn't really done much new except that she's now they're now running for the also in the European Parliament. And this weekend will be a big thing to see whether or not
cock vein probing stick.
Yeah, whether the probing stick.
So,
we will see whether she does split the AfD vote, because that has been certain speculation about that.
yeah, well, the AfD I think seems to be. But that's interesting. Sarah Wagenknecht, for people that I'm sure everyone remembers, but is the very charismatic kind of Die Linke person who went, I might leave Die Linke because you like recognize trans people, or whatever she was saying.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And then she's now set up her own party. I really enjoy her election posters because, and I did read a bit about her and like some stuff. She's just mad, I think. And like a real sort of career. I don't know. I couldn't really get a sense of who. Very odd. And so very much like, I will give the people what the people want. So what her election posters are just things like war or peace.
Yeah.
You have the vote. With her looking at you, very beautiful, very serious.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's not clear which one she's standing for. It's just like things like I'm trying to like translate it in my head and it's not really fair, but like greed or justice, you decide. It looks like it's really funny.
So,
if it wasn't just, slightly concerning. Is that everything? Are we finished the news? I'm down to my bits. I don't know if I want to drink the bits. This has been delicious though, but the bits, it's like a silt.
well, I don't mind the bits at all. I don't know why they're just like, it's like you would eat a bit of rhubarb, wouldn't you? And they're just bits of rhubarb.
I suppose so.
I suppose it's not like coffee. You don't want the bits of coffee in your mouth. It's
No, maybe
annoying.
I'm traumatized by Buckfast. You don't want toenails.
Okay. But I don't really mind the little bits of British rhubarb. Anyway, we've finished them.
All right. Have we
Finished the
finished the
news.
news? Or
Yeah.
the news that we wanted to tell people? Well, I
Yeah.
didn't want to. You did. It was actually very interesting, Konrad, and I always want to get the news from you.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry I've had
Okay.
such resistance.
No. That's the. I'm used to it. That's the normal dynamic.
This is the rut we're stuck in. Yes.
It is. Good. Unless you want to talk about the Fixstern.
Oh please, yeah. That's our last little story.
So, that was also in the news last week. It was the 75th anniversary of the Grundgesetz.
It was, yeah.
Congratulations
to
the Grundgesetz,
Germany,
the basic law. President Steinmeier, our president, he said Fixstern, and which a lot of people found quite funny. He said, above it all, the Fixstern of the Grundgesetz.
Instead of Fixstern, which is very hard to say. Yeah. Fixstern, is that like your fix?
Yeah.
Stern is like the North Star. Is it the?
Yeah.
Like you're guiding.
A stationary star.
Guiding.
Like the North Star. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can guide yourself by.
Fixstern, which sounds like a fucking star.
And hilarity has ensued on social media.
It's quite funny. Poor Walter.
Okay.
But that was a good, happy story to end on.
Good.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
We'll see you. Well, we won't see you. You'll hear us in a while. Oh, wow. I'm so much worse. I always think that, like, it's the Megacan holding me back from doing this in, like, a smooth and elegant way. But it's not. I'm just shit at it. Like, the Megacan helps. If anything.
Yeah. I know.
Just not very good.
Good.
Thanks for putting up with me, Konrad, and everyone.
We'll make sure you drink next time.
Yes, please, God. All right. Take care. Bye.
Megacan, German news in English with a cocktail can. The German news, it's quite a test. With Megan's Mega, you're feeling refreshed. Megacan, German news in English with a cocktail can. Deutsche Nachrichten sind düster und schwer. Down the Mega,
defy the fear.
Yeah.
It's actually quite a positive message to give to people.
So.
I like to think that we have quite a positive impact on our listeners.
I hope so.
Because we try and get them to defy the fear of listening to the news all day.
I mean, it's better than reading a German newspaper, surely.
I would definitely recommend listening to our podcast more than reading any German newspaper.
German newspapers barely have pictures. Like fucking, it's just a brick of text.
Oh yes. And they seem to make a virtue of it. They think it's like so great to have no text.
Not like you Americans with your fucking
colour pictures.
Decadent pictures in your newspapers.
Yeah,
What's that? A crossword puzzle? Oh, no wonder you had Trump. Jesus Christ, everyone! Like, there's a middle ground.
You have to concentrate on the news. It's very important. You have to like keep it there.
Just have a mega.
Have a mega. Give us a picture every now and then.
Just a wee picture, maybe of, a diagram.